want to run email marketing campaigns for your business, you already know how important it is to manage your contacts in the most organized way. Doesn't matter how many contacts you have. MailMint lets you add and organize them in the most efficient way in a clutter-free UI. You can create and import unlimited contacts in MailMint easily. And in today's video, I will show you all the ways you can add new contacts in MailMint. So let's get started. So let's see how you can add a contact manually. So you have to hover on MailMint and go to the contacts module. And as you can see, I don't have any contacts yet, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to new contacts and click on it. So you see that a new window has been appeared, right? So first I have to provide the email address of the contact that I'm adding to my list. So let's see, I'm adding John Doe to my contact list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write john@doe.com. Then I'll add the first name, John, and the last name. You can see that only the email field is required, but it's good if you give the first and last name as well. Then you have to go to the subscription status and update the status of this specific user. Now, if you don't update it, it will be kept as pending. So the first status is pending and it will be kept as pending even if you don't select any status, right? What this will do is if you have the double opt-in option enabled in your settings, then it will send a confirmation email to the user whether they want to subscribe to your email list or not. And if you select the subscribed status, then the contact will be updated as subscribed, which means you have the permission to send them emails. Other option you have in the status section is the unsubscribed option. If I select this will mean that John Doe has already been unsubscribed from my email list, but I want to keep his information. So I'm keeping it as unsubscribed. But I will keep it as subscribed for now. Now moving on to the next field, which is the list. Now you can either select an existing list or maybe create one by typing it here. But I'm going to add this in this specific lead generation list. Now lists are similar group of users who you can target for your further email campaigns. Now the next thing is the tags. Similarly, you can add an existing tag to the specific user, maybe opt-in submitted, or maybe you can create a new tag like new lead. Click on add tag and this specific tag will be added to this user. And now I'm going to go ahead and click save. And once you do that, you'll see that John Doe has been added to my contact list. The list and tags have been assigned to this user and the status has been updated to subscribed. Now, if you have a good number of email lists, you can import them in MailMint easily using the CSV format. Let me show you how you can do that. First, you need to hover on MailMint and go to the contact module. As you can see, I don't have any contacts here yet. Now you have to go and click on import. Now you have to upload your CSV file. Now I'm going to click on upload and this is my contacts list. Now if I click on it and open this, you can see that my CSV file has been updated, and then I'm going to click on next. Now my CSV file had 3 columns. The first one was email, the second one was first name, and the third one was last name. Now you can see that the email column has been mapped into the email field of MailMint contact information. The next one is to map the first name to the first name column of my CSV file. Now I'm going to go ahead and map the first name. Now let me tell you that you can also skip any of the import options if you don't want to add them to your MailMint contact list. So I'm just gonna skip the last name for now, even though I have that column on my CSV file. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you the other contact settings. The first one is the subscription status. Keep in mind that if you don't update this, the subscription status will be remained as pending. Now, if you keep it as pending, you can also select this option, which is if the contact already exists and is in pending status, then send an opt-in confirmation email to give their permission. Now, if you want to send an opt-in confirmation email, then you also have to enable the double opt-in from the settings. But I don't want to do it. I'm just going to keep it unchecked and update my subscription status to subscribed. This will mean the list that I just uploaded in my MailMint contact list have given their permission so that I can send them emails. The other subscription status I have is the unsubscribe. So if you select this means the list I already have updated, they have unsubscribed from my email list. Now I'm going to keep it as subscribed. Now moving on to the next, I have adding to a list. Now you can easily assign a list to your contact list you just uploaded using this field. Now this is so straightforward that you can either add an existing list you have, or you can just easily create one from here. Let's say I want to create this list, which is a large plan user. You can see that I can simply add this from here and the list has been assigned to my contact list. Now moving on to the tag, similarly like list, it's super easy to add a new tag here as well. Let's say I am going to add loyal customers. Now I can add a new tag here and simply it will be assigned to my contact list. Now for the next option, you have the do not trigger any automation for this contacts. Now if you already created some automations in your automation module and you want to trigger them once I add this contact list, then you can select this option. But if you don't have any automation flows, and even if you do, you don't want to trigger them now, you can just simply keep it as it is. And the last option I have is do not update data for existing contact. Now if these contacts already exist in your list, then you can choose the option not to update any data further. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and click on import. I'm not gonna change anything else. And once I import it, you can see the import is very fast as well. And you can see that I have added 30 contacts in the most efficient way without any hassle at all. And so go ahead and view the contacts and you can see that I can check all the lists and tags, first name, and since I skipped the last name, you can see that the last name hasn't been updated here. So this is how easy it is to add contacts in your MailMint contact list. Now for the next option, you can add your contacts directly using a CSV format. Now for that, you have to go to the MailMint contacts module. And once you go there, you have to select import. And then you have to click on paste contact info. All you have to do is paste your data here and follow the format that's mentioned here. You can see that email, first name, last name, and accordingly you have to write the information of those here. Now I already have some of the contacts ready here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy them and paste it. And as you can see, I have followed the format that's mentioned here. I'm going to go ahead and click on next. So once I do that, you can see that I have got the mapping option. So these will let you map your information to the MailMint contact list, right? So I'm going to go ahead and map the first name to the first name column I had on my list. And I'm going to go ahead and click on last name to map it to the MailMint's last name field. Now for the other contact settings, the first one I have is subscription status. Now if the subscription status is kept as pending, and keep in mind it's always kept in pending if you don't update it, then you can select this option, and this will mean if the contact exists in the pending status, then MailMint will send an opt-in confirmation email to these users so that they can give their permission to send them email. And for that, you also need to have the double opt-in option enabled in your setting. And if you don't want it, you can just go ahead and update it to the subscribed status. And the subscribed status will mean that these users have given their permission to you for sending them emails. Now you can add their information to specific lists or tags. So if you want to add list, then you can maybe add them to an existing list you have, or you can add one from here as well. Next, you have some other options like do not trigger any automation for these contacts. Now, if you don't have any active automation flows on your automation module, then you can keep it as is. But if you want to run specific triggers after you add these contacts to your list, then you can uncheck this. Now for the next option, you have do not update data for existing contacts. Now if these contacts already exist in your contact list, you can choose them not to update any information that you're giving here. Now I'm going to go ahead and import it. As you can see, 3 new contacts has been added to my list. Now let's view the contacts, and so once you click on the view contact, you can see that all the information that I added before has been added to my contact list. If you have active WordPress users on your site, you can add them in Mailmint as your contacts. Let's see how you can do that. First, I'll show you the active users that I have on Mailmint. So these are the users that I already have in Mailmint, including myself. Then I'll go to the Mailmint contacts list. You can see that I don't have any active contacts in my list. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on import. And then I'll go to the WordPress users. So once I go there, you can see that there are multiple roles listed here. You can either select specific roles or all of them to add to your contact list. So I will add all the user roles except the admin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all and then uncheck the administrator. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on next. So once I'm here, you can see that all the users that I have on my site is listed here. Now I'm going to go ahead and edit their settings. Now the first thing I have is the subscription status of these users. Now you have to know that the subscription status will be kept as pending if you don't change anything. And the pending means if you have the double opt-in option enabled in your settings, then these users will be sent a confirmation email to subscribe to your email list. Now if you already have their permission, then you can update the status to subscribed. And the other option I have is the unsubscribed status. Now the unsubscribed status means that these users has already unsubscribed from your email list, but you want to keep their information anyway. Then you can select the unsubscribed option. But I'm just gonna go ahead and select the subscribed. Now the next thing I have is the list. Lists are basically a group of users that you can target for running email campaigns. Now I am going to add them to a WordPress users list that I already have, and I'm going to add them, let's say, a tag in new lead. Now moving on to the next settings we have is the first one, do not trigger any automation for these contacts. Now if you don't have any active automation for adding these users to your contact list, you can just keep it as it is. And if you do have an automation and you want to trigger them once you add them to your contact list, you can keep it unchecked. Now for the next option, we have do not update data for existing contacts. Now if you already have these users on your contact list and you don't want to update data for them, then you can select this. But I'm just going to keep it as it is. Now I'm just going to go ahead and click on import. So once I do that, you can see that all the records have been processed and 3 new contacts has been added to my list. Let's view the contacts now. And you can see that these are the contacts that has been updated. Now you can also see that the lists, tags and status have been updated as well. Now for importing WooCommerce customers in your email list, you will need to have your WooCommerce site ready and already have some customers who you can add to your Mailmint email list. Now first I'll show you how many customers I have. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on WooCommerce and click on orders. Now once I do that, you can see that I have 3 contacts, which are Mary Doe, Matthew Perry and Billy Jones, and these people have already purchased from me, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and click on Mailment Contacts module. Now you can see that I don't have any contacts here yet. I'm going to go ahead and click on Import. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the WooCommerce customer option. Now once I click on it, you can see that a mapping field has appeared, right? Now this is basically an option where you have to map your WooCommerce customer information to the Mailment contact list information. Now these are basically the details that a WooCommerce customer gives when they purchase from you. Now for this specific mapping, I'm just gonna go ahead and add the first name to the first name option. I'll map the last name to the last name option. I also want to have the details of their city, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add city to the city option, and I'm gonna go map the country option as well. I also want to have their phone number, so I want to add the phone as well. Now these are all the details that will be added to my Mailment contact list. Now I'm gonna go ahead and update the contact settings. Now if your subscription status is kept as pending, you can see that there's an option here which is that if the contact is already existent and is in pending status, then send an opt-in confirmation email. Now if you keep your subscription status as pending and you enable this, then these contacts that are being added to the Mailment contact list will be sent an opt-in information email. And for this, you will also have to enable the double opt-in from your settings. But I will not select this, and I'm just going to go ahead and select the subscribed status, which will mean that I have the permission to send emails to my WooCommerce customers. Now I'm going to go ahead and add them to a list. You can select a list from your existing list, or you can add one from here as well. Let's say I'm adding them in WooCommerce, and I can also add a tag from here, or I can also keep it as blank as well. Now for the other settings, we have do not trigger any automation for these contacts, right? So if you don't have any automation created on your automation module, then you can keep it as it is. Now if you already have an automation created on your automation module and you want to trigger it once you add them as your contacts, then you can keep it as unchecked. Now moving on to the next option, which is do not update data for existing contacts. Now if you already have these customers added on your contact list, then and you don't want to update their data, then you can select this. But I'm just going to keep it because I don't have them on my contact list yet. So I'm going to go ahead and import it, and you can see that all my 3 customers have been added to my contact list. Now let's view their information. Now let's say I want to see Billy Jones's information. So if I go to his profile, you can see that his email, first name, last name, phone number, city and country has been added, and the list that I assigned priorly has been added as well. Mailment's contacts module has the most clutter-free UI for you to easily add and organize your contacts for your email marketing campaigns. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you in my next video.